Hello, and thank you for watching this regional forecast for the Northeast. I'm Andrew Pritchard, meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, as we take a look at the hazards map from the National Weather Service, we have areas of winter weather advisories across parts of the Midwest, dense fog advisories in the Midwest and the Northern Plains, as well as down here across parts of the Southeast, with winter weather advisories in place here across parts of Pennsylvania and New Jersey. So we take a look at the satellite picture here on Friday morning. We see our well-defined storm system. We've been talking about this for several days, making its way now across the Midwest, spreading into the Northeast region as we head through the weekend. The radar picture right now, all sorts of rain and perhaps a couple embedded thunderstorms marching across the eastern Corn Belt, again pushing into western portions of Pennsylvania and New York early on this Friday morning. And then on the backside, we've got our snow wrapping around. Dry air being entrained here in the middle, kind of dry, getting a little bit, I say dry, talking about central Illinois, but it's dense fog out there. It's going to be a light rain and a light mist, but the dry slot pushing into parts of Illinois and Indiana. So our storm system underway and slowly making its way across the region. As we look at the temperatures, we do see the typical pattern here, although again with the weaker upper level flow, a weaker storm system overall. In advance, we've got the warm air advection, the moisture advection, but we're not seeing temperatures in the 50s and 60s across this region as we had with the last couple of storm systems, which were much stronger, much stronger warm air advection. On the backside, we do see cooler air coming in, but it's seasonally appropriate cold air. Again, no extreme cold available to be brought down into the region from the Canadian prairie, and again with weaker flow across the midsection of the country, across the lower 48. This storm system just is not wrapping up the way that the last several have. So the high-resolution NAM model, the precipitation type forecast as we get started here on Friday morning again. The rain out ahead of it, pushing into western Pennsylvania and western New York as we get through the mid part of the day today, with the snow moving through parts of the upper Midwest into the Great Lakes. Take the drawings off and continue to move forward through midday on Friday, and now getting into Friday evening, seeing again those rain showers trying to push into western portions of the region, fighting some dry air, but finally making its way in here as we get into the overnight and Saturday morning. Here is sunrise on Saturday morning. The rain not making a lot of progress, perhaps mixing at times with sleet and snow across central and northern portions of Pennsylvania, getting into central portions of New York State. We head through the midday hours on Saturday. This will be lunchtime on Saturday, getting now into Saturday evening as the sun goes down. Seeing the cold front now pushing across the region, taking the rain with it, moving from west to east. And on the backside, we see snow wrapping around and pushing into portions of Pennsylvania and New York as we head into the overnight. Now, it's possible that this light snow could linger across the region even as we head into Sunday and Monday, maybe even early on Tuesday. Not looking at any significant accumulating snow except some areas where we could get some enhancement from the lakes and some of our higher elevations. Generally talking about a trace to maybe a couple of inches of snow, but again, those pockets of higher accumulations in some of the higher elevations and where we could get some influence from the lakes. Total liquid equivalent per here, talking about very close to an inch across much of the region, a little bit lighter as you head off to the north. We're talking about more in the way of snow across this region, but then where we talk about the precipitation, talking about anywhere from a half an inch to an inch and a half. Now, again, we talked about the cold air not being available. I'm just going to play the temperature loop here across across North America over the next 7 days, taking it into the end of next week. And again, if you want to find cold air, you can find it across Canada. You can find it across portions of Greenland. But again, with this pattern, it is just not going to be bringing any cold air in from the prairies on the backside of these storm systems. So as we head through the next week or 10 days, very strong jet stream flow here blasting the Pacific Northwest, parts of British Columbia. A very strong subtropical jet stream that could at times enhance some of the clipper systems that then drop in from the northern plains across the Great Lakes and track into the northeast region, but not looking at anything significant here over the next 5 to 7 days on the backside of this storm system. So the 7-day precipitation anomaly on the backside of this storm, again, very dry across this region that's been just kind of slammed over the last 2 to 3 weeks. So this is good news. It's, again, a pattern that's not going to bring any significant long-lasting cold. It's a pattern that right now, over the next week, doesn't blast us with any type of significant nor'easter. So we've been talking about a storm system arriving here mid to late next week. The pattern did look a little bit more favorable for a late week storm across the Northeast. This is the current forecast for Wednesday, 7 a.m. across the region. This is the forecast 2 days ago for Wednesday at 7 a.m. A well-defined storm system across the southern plains. Plenty of moisture being drawn northward from the Gulf of Mexico. Snow on the backside. Let's look at the next forecast run that came out. Still there, maybe a little bit weaker. The next one, okay, what's going on? And now here's the current look. Again, this jet stream pattern with the very strong flow across the Pacific Northwest, the strong subtropical jet stream, it almost leaves a void here across the midsection of the country where it's not a conducive environment to the development of a well-defined area of low pressure across the midsection of the country that's really going to, tap into the Gulf of Mexico and then swing into the region, intensifying further. It's a pattern that's going to feature these little clippers making their way out of the Canadian prairie, just tracking through the northern plains into the Great Lakes, perhaps bringing with them some light snow at times to this region. Again, looking at the precipitable water forecast, you're going to notice, again, moisture not being drawn north of the Gulf of Mexico. It will try, but it's kind of headed off by this trajectory here, moving from the northern plains into the Great Lakes, kind of smushing the moisture back down. So here you go. Just look at this. It tries to come up midweek, not happening. Tries again, not happening. We do bring some moisture in from the Pacific Northwest, but it's much lighter snow than another pattern the alternative might supply. So let's take a look then at the European precipitation type forecast, watching this first storm system make its way through. The rain moves from west to east during the day on Saturday, clearing the area Saturday night. On the backside, snow moves into the region, heaviest where we've got lake enhancement and some of the higher elevation areas, otherwise just expecting some lingering flurries. Again, as I mentioned, lingering through the day Sunday, Monday, perhaps even into early Tuesday, especially close to the lake. And then look, this is what we're talking about. Maybe a little clipper system makes its way in here Tuesday, Wednesday, delivering some snow to parts of the eastern Corn Belt, washing out before it gets to the northeast region. Then later in the week, Thursday into Friday, maybe another system that tracks in from the northern plains into the Great Lakes. Perhaps this one brings a little light snow to the region as we get into next weekend. But as it stands right now, we've got this first storm making its way in Saturday with the rain, lingering snow Sunday, Monday into early Tuesday, and then drying out Wednesday, Thursday, perhaps even into Friday. 24-hour accumulated snow. Again, that first storm system makes its way through over the weekend. Let me go ahead and jump back and play that again a little bit slower. This first storm system makes its way through the snow from the Midwest into the Great Lakes and then across northern portions of the Northeast region, lingering Sunday, Monday into Tuesday. As we head into the middle part of the week, drying out for the most part, and then just watching for clipper systems across this region, perhaps bringing a little light snow into the Northeast as we get into the end of next week. High temperatures for the next few days. Again, not watching for any significant cold coming in on the backside of the storm system. In the 40s for most today. Similar picture for the day on Saturday. Sunday, upper 30s to around 40 degrees getting into Monday. And then Tuesday, temperatures below freezing to the north, but in the upper 30s still across southern portions of the Northeast region. A look at our overnight lows. Temperatures in the mid-20s as we get the day started today. Tomorrow, mid-20s to above freezing across Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Flirting with the freezing line on Monday morning and Tuesday morning. And then as we get all the way to Wednesday morning, again, no brutal cold coming in. We will absolutely this time of year take overnight lows in the mid-20s to near 32 degrees.